second delay. Also, pro tip, like you probably I'm sure you know this, like never watch the live feed at the same time that you're actually doing it.
Right.
Because then you just get distracted and you get a loop and it's like a 20-second thing and it's just like, wait, what the hell is going on?
Right. No, it's fine.
But
I'll
it's
stare directly into the camera.
I get the benefit of learning from my friends' mistakes with doing live shows.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, because they've done that. And then also like, this obviously is like for anybody who might actually like pop on here, it's very unceremonious in its opening. Like there's no bumper, there's no music, there's no opening graphic even.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I'm very much the same way when I do those broadcasts. I typically never get on the mic. I think I've gotten on the mic a couple of times when something went wrong and I was like, hey, I'll be back. But no, music starts at 8. That's when I said to be here, like,
yeah.
That's all it is.
Oh, and also on top of that, I also didn't do anything. I didn't put up, I usually will try and put something up like the day before on like Facebook or Instagram or something, just to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a thing tomorrow. Didn't do any of that. I woke up this morning and I was like, I probably should do something today to like give folks a heads up. And I was like, whatever.
If they find it, they find it.
Yeah.
The right people will come. So if you're watching this, you're cool.
Yeah. That's two people. Two people
awesome.
Are cool. And also they can comment along too.
Oh yeah, I see. I got this chat on the side. So that'll be fun.
Oh, it's gonna be weird.
I'm gonna just type with my thumbs. So I'm gonna try to emulate Homer Simpson here.
Fantastic.
Oh,
this hoodie was a bad idea right off the bat. I'm already getting warm.
Wow. Yeah. I had this on, and I was like, nah. I'm gonna just stick with the cool ass Gundam T-shirt. That's right. Look at that. Shit.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the photo that you sent me yesterday or the day before.
Oh right? No. That's actually my brother is really he gets me like these little models and stuff. Like I have a Gundam model downstairs that I haven't put together yet.
Oh, nice.
Because I actually want to paint it. I want to kind of prep it, do it like I used to. But that was from one of the Robotech kind of like deluxe miniatures.
Yeah.
And I just positioned it in such a way that you couldn't see the stand and posed it and then ran it through a filter like God, I don't even know what Prisma. I think I used Prisma on the iPhone to make it look like a cartoon. And I mean, the more I looked at it, the more I was like, this is so cool. I'm going to keep doing this. Because that's what I've been doing for like a lot of my covers for the DJ show is like, I'll just take a picture in the room. And I've been slowly digging out all of my giant robots and action figures. I don't even collect them. Like, that's the thing. I don't go out of my way. I'm not a person that hunts these down.
Yeah.
I have a really tight collection of a few cool ones that I keep with me. I've got like these Akira figures that I like, a couple giant robots, badass oversized Bobo import, like Chinese knockoff Megatron that I fucking love. It's huge.
Oh my gosh.
If you threw it at somebody, it'd hurt them. And it transforms to like a full-size pistol. Like it's sick as shit. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's bigger than the original toy. Like I remember the original toy. Like this thing is stupid big. But and heavy, it turns out. When you drop it on your foot. But
so then the thing you sent me yesterday was basically the album art for your mixtape.
Yeah, or no, well, yeah, you know what? I might as well make it that. More so, like I did that thing in 2 days using nothing but like Apple loops built into Logic because my wife tomorrow is doing an Instagram live thing where she does a hair color in the salon and stuff, and they're rolling out a new product, like a new company and everything. And she's like, I need like 45 minutes of music, and I'm like, when? And she's like, Monday, and I'm like, it's like Thursday. Yeah, 45 minutes. You want me to make an album in 3 days? So I just started I just went down. I just started dicking around with it a little bit, and then next thing you know, I had 15 minutes done, and I'm like, this will be no problem.
Nice.
'Cause, I mean, again, I didn't write any of that. I just arranged it.
Yeah.
And I might have put a filter or two on it and like tweak the volume here and there and stuff like that. But I just wanted to kind of. I was inspired by what do you call it, like a Ninja Tune and like the old chilled out kind of smoky Portishead era breakbeat stuff, like that was a lot of fun.
So I was listening to it. What's it?
Yeah, so I just slapped that together, and it was fun. It was like a thing I'll probably keep doing.
Well, no, honestly, it was great. And actually, I was going to ask you. I mean, because I was listening to it for the half an hour before starting up here, and I was like, oh, I feel kind of zen. It's kind of chill.
Thank you.
Great.
That's what I want to hear.
But yeah, it was fun. I was actually going to ask you, but if you're going to keep on doing it, maybe I can like ask for like a specific one dedicated for me. But I was like, I would love that to be like a waiting room, like a holding thing for this. Like start it up like 15 minutes before actually popping on.
Yeah, I can bang one of those out. That's not a problem. I'm happy to. Yeah, just tell me how long you want it and like what kind of vibe you want. And, you know, I could do like, I like the chiller shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I spin like house and breakbeat, and I can dick around with drum and bass a little bit, you know. But like we started a podcast and our theme song is straight up drum and bass. And I don't know why. It wasn't the plan. The plan was to do something that was like really that like vaporwave 80s kind of synth wave stuff, you know, like I was really trying to do that. I was really, really trying to do that. And next thing you know, it's like fucking 170 beats per minute. This jangly, brutal little bass line at the end. And I was like, okay, this will do. This is also cyberpunk. So, you know, we'll count.
So you started a podcast too?
Yes. It's been a busy few months.
So you're in that small group of people that actually took a pandemic and turned it into something good.
Had to.
Yeah.
I mean, my job before this was I was working in a smoke shop, British goods store. And it was awesome. And I love that job because I just got to hang out and talk to people in the area and stuff. And we had very interesting people come in, you know, like government officials, all kinds of people came in. And then, you know, the pandemic hit and they ended up selling it. And I was like, well, looking like I'm never leaving the house again. I better pivot somehow.
Right.
So I, you know, I bought a machete, as you do, and started just arranging stuff. And then a couple of buddies of mine, they took over a cyberpunk podcast, or not podcast, a website called Neon Dystopia. And it's awesome. It's really cool. And they approached me, and I've known Scum for a really long time, for like as long as we've known each other, actually. And he goes by Scum on the podcast. I go by Coin Ops. You know, we have Scum, Coin Ops, and Shadow Link. And but Scum's like, yeah, we want to do a podcast. And we're talking like 3 years ago or more, 4 years ago or something. Like we did a magazine for 3 issues.
Yeah.
And then just everything kind of went. Maybe it was longer. It might have been longer. Oh my god. I don't know what day it is anyway, so it's fine.
What is time?
I'm in.
It's a great time to study quantum mechanics.
It's Rona time.
I heard the number of times that I've said that. That's become like a catchphrase.
Yeah, I don't. I've had 4 Tuesdays in a week before. I don't know what's going on. This is bizarre.
What year is it? Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? December 37th? I thought. Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah. Wait, was that you that posted that thing about the?
Well played, December 37th, 2020. Well played.
We had 5 good days.
I mean, at least it was 5. Last year was 3 before threatening nuclear annihilation with Iran. So I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true. We definitely had that one.
No one has Tide Pods yet. So.
Amazing. I should throw this up there just so at least I've got it for posterity's sake. Boom.
Oh, right on. Hey.
Which I got to get this shit finessed better. So basically, like the idea, because before I had the 4 episodes I had done before was I called it quiet time because when I had started it, it was supposed to be a joke. When I had started it, it was supposed to be I'd be in folding chairs outside in like a park or a parking lot, like 6 feet apart from the other person, and I bought a couple of bullhorns, and then. And that actually, if you go back and check it out, I actually think it's only on the Facebook page. But basically, if you go back and check it out, it's like me and my buddy Dan, and we're sitting outside, and there was absolutely no order to the format at all. I mean, there still isn't. But I at least learned what didn't work, and this did not work because number one, we were outside. It was
air and traffic and birds and planes.
Oh no, not even no. It was a parking lot, so there was no shade. Number one.
Oh god.
Dan Burns real
no.
easy. He's very Irish,
Oh no.
like very Irish, and he didn't put sunblock on, so it's 2 hours out in the sun, and then I thought like it'd be fun to wear a robe because it was only supposed to be like 75 that day, but in direct sunlight, it just didn't go great. My phone that I was doing the broadcast on overheated and shut down.
Right.
Is just some problems. But anyway, so basically this one, I was like, all right, this will be the thing. I'll call it full bars. It has two meanings. So like, Wi-Fi signal, all that stuff, since everything's being done over video chat, and then just, bars, drinks.
Indeed, I appreciate that.
Yeah. But also, in the last month, I've been getting more into mixology.
Oh, cool.
So I got actually have a bar cart showing up tomorrow because I've run out of space in the pantry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. I was never a mixologist. I was always a bartender. If somebody came up to me and the ingredients weren't actually in the name of the drink, you were fucked. Gin and tonic? Gotcha.
Wait, hold on. What is the difference between a bartender and a mixologist?
I don't know. I mean, some people would definitely dispute this, but I think like mixology is a craft that's kind of when you're distilling things into things and doing other stuff, and it's almost like a molecular gastronomy. Like you're doing something really interesting that you can't just get from like slapping some vodka and some tonic.
Yeah.
And that's awesome to me. It's awesome to me. I don't have the patience for it. I would rather work at a place where like punk band gets done, comes down, asks for shots of whiskey, and then I give them their beers. That's way fun. Like that's it for me. I love that shit. If I got to put on a tuxedo to make you alcohol, I'm going to be uncomfortable. So I'm going to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to be like, well, I made this drink up. It's basically made out of thistle with thistles in it, and you have to distill it through the thistle. But the way you do it is you just push them into your lips so you bleed. Like I would come up with really ignorant, dumb stuff because I'm not really a liquor guy anymore. Like I was.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's Eve, I DJ, and
it's
like 10 o'clock. Right before I started at 10, we were gonna make like mixed drinks and stuff like that, like on the weekend.
Wait, were you DJing at home and just going live, or were you at that club?
Just always at home.
Okay.
Yeah, for the last several months, it's just been in the basement and this stupid little light,
What is that thing?
It's awesome. It's just this like touch light. It turns on and changes colors and stuff. It's ignorant. I like it.
Does it react to sound, or you just?
It doesn't, but it has this one feature where if you hold your finger on it for like 2 or 4 seconds, I'm not sure, it'll cycle through all the colors.
Okay.
Huh. It makes me feel good. And when I DJ, I don't have a camera on, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I do wear pants. The basement is a constant 60 degrees. You know what I mean? I'm not, even in the summer, it's like, I got to have some sweats on or something.
Yeah.
But simple pleasures. But I had 1 shot of tequila and then like 4 beers. Mm-hmm. I think it was Stone has the Fear Movie Lions, the FML beer. It's like an 8.5% double IPA. And they sell those sons of bitches in 6-packs for some reason, which is just, why would you do that? And it's good. It's like a really tasty IPA. I mean, I know some people think it tastes garbage. It's all a palate thing. Like there's certain things that I just can't stand the taste of. You know what I mean? Some people hate cilantro. I fucking love cilantro. Yeah, but I understand why people don't like certain things. I get it. I hate beets. I can't stand beets. I had 4 beers and that 1 shot of tequila, and the next day I was all but incapacitated. It was a hangover that I haven't had since I was like 28.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was insane. So I'm wondering, like, and here's the thing. I really like the taste of tequila. Big fan, of all of the liquors. It's the only one that I can do straight and be like, this is a ride, but I think I'm past it. I even think I'm a little bit past certain wines. Like if all I'm drinking is wine, I'm good. But if I am going to have a couple glasses of wine with dinner and then go home and then like spin for a little bit or like play video games or some shit like that, nah, I'm going to be horrible the next day. Also, I hate tannins. Like they don't agree with me at all. So
weird.
Yeah, but I can drink like the skunkiest, shittiest fucking IPA and be like, oh, this is delicious. Oh, look at this.
Like water.
Yeah. There are certain breweries, since this is about full bars, that absolutely have no regard for your safety, and those are some of my favorite breweries. Like I I really like Lagunitas a lot.
Oh yeah.
I think the only Lagunitas beer I don't like is their Pilsner.
Okay.
Yeah, the pills. I don't certain Pilsners I just don't agree with. But everything else they make is absolutely there to destroy you.
Mhm.
You know, they have a couple other beers that are like lower ABV, but they had this one. It's probably my favorite name of a beer called the Undercover Investigation Shutdown. It's
What the hell?
I
God.
mistakenly bought it one weekend thinking that it was just an IPA that was 6.9%.
Uh-huh.
I read it wrong. It's 9.6%. And I didn't figure this out until I was 2.5 beers deep because it was delicious. It was one of those ones that it just goes down, you know?
Yeah.
You don't even realize it. And then I'm having a hard time putting the needle on the record. I'm like, jeez, what the fuck? And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, maybe I need to dial it back a bit. And then the only thing I had to dial it back with was like 4 Raging Bitch by Fine Dog. And those are 8%.
Oh, yeah.
That's not that much better, you know? I was drunk at work the next day. Like I was still like I had to work a brunch. It was a sweat. I smelled bad.
No.
I worked a double. Like it was, but you know, you do it. You put it.
Yeah.
It's a thing that happens. But yeah, Lagunitas, they're dangerous. The Undercover Investigation Shutdown. The history of this is, I'm paraphrasing and I'm going to get some things wrong, but apparently, California at one point had a limit on their ABV, kind of like Utah and certain other places did.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't buy a beer above like 4.8 or something like that, or 5.6 or something. You know, like there was some technicality. So apparently, these guys made the Undercover Investigation Shutdown, which is what it wasn't called that at the time. It was something else, and it was like 9% something bonkers. Before that, really blew up everywhere else. And ATF came in and straight up fucked them up, broke up their casks in the whole 9 yards.
Whoa.
So they got real pissed about that. They lobbied to raise the ABV in California and won.
Nice.
So, to celebrate, they put this beer out, which literally will erase grade school. Like every 6-pack will take first grade, second grade, whichever, you know, like you just pick it and then gone. They got a few, they have a little something. I don't know. I like their beers. They're good. They're kind of a go-to. I just usually in the winter I'm drinking porters and shit, but I just haven't gotten to that yet. You know, it's not really winter. I'm still wearing a hoodie outside. I'm from Ohio. This isn't winter. What's it like outside? 44? Oh, shit. I'll put shorts on. We're good.
Yeah. How long have you and Teresa actually been in Virginia now?
It's like 9 years.
Has it been that long?
It's stupid. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I still feel like I just left Chicago. Like, Chicago left such an impression upon me that I just absolutely fucking love that city. I want to die there. I mean, really, like I love it. I love it. I went back a year and a half ago, and it was one of the best weeks, like 4 days of my like time there ever. I really liked. Well, I didn't like it here at first. Like, there was a couple months where I was just like, okay, let me make this work, because I never visited here in grade school or anything. I never visited, never took a school trip, never took a Boy Scout trip. I always had like the chicken pox or the flu or something. I could never get down here. So when I finally got down here, I was like, well, now I can actually show people the sites, because I haven't seen them either. You know?
Well, is it kind of the way that, like, for me growing up in the suburbs of Chicago, that like I should probably actually stay closer to the mic so people can actually hear my face. That like for me living in the suburbs, like I could pretty much avoid all the headache of the city and then just kind of choose when I wanted to go in and check stuff out. It's the same thing with DC.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Virginia has it going on too, but DC is like where the bigger venues are and stuff like that. Plus, you know, the fucking seat of government. You know, but the rest of it, you know, they have this International Spy Museum that is like 100% worth paying for. Like, it's.
I think I've heard of that. I want to go there.
It's great. It's kind of cheesy. I would recommend if you go to pay for the mission and then do the mission with like a group of people where you have to solve stuff and you get shuttled around. There's like this cool elevator thing that they have inside the building. They'll just shuttle you from room to room.
Okay, so
you have to crack safes and shit.
So then the next time I'm in town,
we're doing it. We're fucking doing it. It's awesome. I had so much fun. I went with my cousin. It was a riot. Also, I got to see all the implements that spies use to like pick locks and stuff.
Yeah.
And an astonishing amount of them are meant to be transported in the ass, and like an astonishing amount of them. And we're talking like lock picks, little pieces of metal on a piece of leather, and then like rolled up and tied real tight, and then like. I always fantasized, like when I was a kid, of being a spy or some sort of secret agent. Gone, done. I mean, not. It's just butt stuff's cool. Putting tools in your butt. I gotta draw a line, man. Like, gotta draw a line there, and I don't know if I want to put a whole Allen wrench set in my ass. It's nuance, man. It's just nuance. That's all I'm saying. But when I went to, they had all the Bond villain stuff. So they had like Jaws's teeth and the Aston Martin with the fenders that pop up and the machine gun. You could touch it. It was awesome. It was really cool. I'm not even a big Bond fan, but that shit's cool. Yeah. But they have like all this awesome stuff in there. And a buddy of mine had a membership to the Holocaust Museum, and I got to check that out. And it was powerful. It was like just the architecture of that place is astonishing. It's amazing. Very heavy. It's neat because they got the bad shit in there, but they put them in these things that are like 4 feet tall, so the little kids can't look at it. And you kind of, as an adult, you can kind of stand over it and look down and see a screen of just the worst shit you've ever seen in the world. And it's good that they put that there. It's good that they had the footage for historical reasons. But that's it. Like I haven't been to any of the fucking free museums. I think I went to the Portrait Museum, and that was it. And that was really cool because I got to see some awesome paintings and stuff. But like, I'm not really a big museum goer. I want to go to the Air and Space Museum, but I want to go on mushrooms. And this is a negotiation with my wife that I've been going through for years now. She doesn't understand that I'll be fine. Like, I'll just use mushrooms and go look at space shit for like all day, and I'll come home and I'll be like, yeah, that was awesome. She thinks I'm going to go there and like be foaming at the mouth, dressed like, Ronald McDonald trying to get into the fucking Apollo 11 mock-up unit. Like, I'm like, no, it isn't that. I don't know. I have a lot of fun in like that kind of stuff. I like rockets and shit. But most of what I've done is go to shows in DC. And what's really interesting is that, like, when I got here, I didn't know anybody. Yeah. And the first place I worked was this place called Iota.
Oh, yeah. That's where you started spinning, right?
Yeah. Okay. That was like I waited tables there. I bartended there. I DJ'd there. I played in a couple of bands. I'm not a musician. I'm in like 3 bands. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't know.
What were you playing?
Drum machine. Yeah. And like the first time I think I did it was with my buddy Jason Mendelson, who's a fucking genius. He programmed all the beats. All I had to do was hit them on and off. It was perfect. It was like his drum machine, but he wanted me to run it. And I was like, I got this. But then I
could do that.
Yeah, it was great. We did like they did these awesome shows where it was like they picked a year and then everybody did an album. Not a whole album, but you'd pick like the the headliner would do the full album of whoever they picked. And we were doing
like a cover?
Fun. Yeah, we just did covers of like the Bends by Radiohead. And that was wonderful. It was a great moment. And then from there I ended up actually getting a drum machine, and then all hell broke loose. And now I have 2 fucking drum machines, and my buddy Derek got me this little Teenage Instruments thing that looks like, it's like a little chip, and it's all the Mega Man sounds from the Sega game. So I could like program them. I'm trying to figure out how to get it to sync to the drum machine because it's really cool. But other than that, yeah. And then like I made all my friends through Iota basically. And all my friends are like musicians or artists of somehow. So I could not have landed here better. You know what I mean? Like there was never a point where I didn't appreciate that aspect of it, that I got to meet like poets and writers and like at least 2 of the members of Fugazi. You know what I mean? And I got to meet Rich Morell, who's like this amazing East Coast producer, made some of the best house music ever. And he has this great band called Death Fix that I absolutely recommend because they're funny as shit. Like you don't think they're gonna be. You listen to it, it's just it just takes the piss out of a bunch of stuff. It's really great. And he's insane. Like he's just a great guy. It's just there's so much cool stuff here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like anytime you have to figure it out. Like you gotta just throw yourself into stuff. Like I went to this bar for the Comey hearing. And
I think you told me this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. We keep going. This is great. I like this.
I got fucking. It's like 10 in the morning, and they opened up all these bars for this hearing, and this.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This one was like I could walk out the front of this building and then point to my right, and that was where it was happening. Like that's inside that building is where it's happening, and I'm like, this is so fucking surreal. And I'm drinking a beer called On the Wings of Armageddon.
That was intentional.
So good, so good. And it's like, so I'm there for. It's like 10 o'clock. I intend to eat. I do not. And I have like 4 of these things. I'm just getting housed. I mean, absolutely housed. It's packed with reporters and people who have a reason to watch this. I do not. A buddy of mine and his girl met me there, and it took me a half hour to get to them. I could see them, but I had to weave through all these people to get to them.
Jeez.
Before it was over, this lady from the Wall Street Journal tried to interview me. And I say that I was very polite, but I told her, I was like, man, I'm fucking wasted. Like, what do you need? What I'm not, this is sports to me. I don't know how to describe this. Like I'm watching people watching this because I don't really know what's going on. I'm trying to get a sense of what's happening here in this country, this whole capital. And then like later, this girl was like standing next to my buddy and his girl, and she comes up and she wants to interview us for the fucking like she has a connection to the BBC. They want to interview, and I'm wasted at this point. Like I'm 5 of these 10% IPAs gone. Like I'm just like, I'll get on
an empty stomach. Awesome, perfect.
Oh, I'm just totally on an empty stomach. Everything right, and then so we're on hold. With what was his name? I don't want to just say Niles, but we'll go with that. He the
BBC's name was probably Niles.
Probably, odds are, or something, Giles or something, Giles. I don't know, but he was really cool. He was a really nice guy. He's talking to us. He's like, okay, we're gonna be going live in a few minutes, and then the feed dropped. They also, the BBC had bought my friend and I a beer.
You said there was this like tall bottle of beer,
just like. Cool. All right. We're drinking it and stuff. And he gets back on. He's like, lads, I'm sorry. Something happened with our relay truck because we were on a phone, but the relay truck was actually going to have like the graphics, or not the graphics, but like the music stabs and everything else that go with it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they lost that signal. So he called back through a separate line to get a hold of the lady who was getting us connected to them or whatever. And he's like, we can't do it. It was like 15, 20 minutes we were standing there. So all I said to him was like, do we get to keep the beer? I'm like, it's sad actually, if you think about it, but I was gone. We ended up going, after we left, we stopped and got wings. And I got more beer and took more beer home. And I was in bed by 2:45 or 3 o'clock that day in the afternoon. Just trashed, just gone.
Nice.
I don't remember anything about the hearing proper. Oh yeah, at the very end. This is why I got blanked. I was doing okay with the IPAs. I was getting ready to leave, and then I started talking to these dudes at the end of the bar. Like the place starts kind of clearing out a little bit. It's getting to be the end of the hearing, and these guys are writers. Like one's a sci-fi writer, one's a journalist, and we're just start rapping about something. We're talking about this and Mad Max Fury Road because that's always a good topic to bring up with me. The next thing you know, I'm buying them shots of whiskey at this place. Now, I need to say this wasn't a beer bar. This was a whiskey bar. And the whiskey I got turned my tab from like $60 to like $150 in like one move. And I was like, better to ask forgiveness than permission, I guess. You know, like there was something I was supposed to do like the week or two before that was going to cost money, and I didn't end up doing it. So I was just like, this is that thing, you know. But I still didn't feel great about paying like $20 for a shot of fucking whiskey. But it was good. It was very good whiskey. We did not shoot it. We were like, you know, it's one of those kinds.
Yeah.
But that was just like a weird, crazy, surreal thing that I got to do here that I would not have gotten to do anywhere else. You know, like it was such a quintessentially Washington thing for a bunch of people to walk the fuck out over a hearing at a whiskey bar. You know, it's crazy. It was like sports.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I liked it. I haven't done it again. Like, I'm not, you know, whatever comes of, well, I mean, there's a plague going on, but like, whatever comes of what's coming, probably just going to be here, you know, just sitting in the basement watching this on 4 different screens like I did last Wednesday. Losing my mind slowly.
Oh, jeez. Which we can get to that, but like for me, like the all that stuff with like when I was there in March for work, and the only other time that I'd ever been to DC was an 8th grade school trip. So I think I told you about the time. So like at 13 years old, I got to see a lot of DC. Yeah. We hit up, I want to say 3 or 4 of the Smithsonian's.
Yeah.
I went to Embassy Row.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever got to the White House. I think we were supposed to do one of the, like, oh no, we did. No, we didn't do a photo. I think we did a photo up in front of the Capitol, but we didn't make it to the White House. I think we ended up just being able to drive by.
Right.
But what I thought was so funny was that day that I was there for work, just 10 months ago.
Right.
That like I remember at the time that I was a kid, you could like get to that fence right in front of the White House, and then just because of Trump, all of a sudden
blocks
it like I think 3 blocks was the closest that you could actually get to the White House, and like all the other streets are just shut down.
Yeah, the previous summer, my buddy came with his kids, and we were trying to just get a shot from even a distance of the fucking White House, front or back, didn't matter. And we went up, we saw people make a turn up this one street, and we started following them. These people kept walking, and the kids were in front of us, and this dude pops out from around a building, kind of plainclothes looking, puts his hand on his gun in front of the daughter, who was like 14 at the time. And I'm like, so I see what triggers you, you know, like I see what gets your violence response is like, oh, this kid's coming toward me, fucking pop, pop, you know, let's go. Because I didn't see any of that shit Wednesday. I got so much shit in my head. Like,
well, just the difference from the time that I was 13 until last year, at 31, like looking at just how different the city was. Yeah. And actually get like for the first time, because like I just did it. My whole thing was like on a charter bus. Like I had no bearings as to where things actually were.
Right.
So our show was at, what's the name of that?
Constitution Hall?
Yeah, Constitution Hall. Yeah. So we had our show there. So like I went for a run, and I ran like, I think like a half a block down. And I was like, oh, cool, there's the White House. And then like basically finally like learning that the whole thing was like a T, set up like a T. Yeah. And I basically ran all around there, even had my Captain America moment around the reflecting pool. But which I mean, I
don't say
it. I actually didn't. But also it was really weird because like they had drained it, and then they were renting scooters, and people were like doing laps, and they set up cones in there. And all right, cool, whatever this is about. But just experiencing like that entire difference, like things that are just so weird. And like the guy I told you about that was like plain clothes, but like kept on just hanging outside the Constitution Hall and like walking the block a little bit. And the guy was there for hours, and I'm like, you're not waiting for a friend.
No.
Like you're hanging out.
You're doing the what's up here. Kind of thing. Yeah. It was bonkers. Yeah, that was the last time I did anything in public.
Really? Oh yeah, because the very next weekend
when
everything shut down.
It was literally, we're talking like Tuesday, Wednesday. I was just like, oh fuck, did I get it? Like,
which can I just tell you right now? Like, I am actually the fact that no one on our team caught the virus at all is like, how did we get out? Like even up until the shutdown, because we were traveling by plane, we were in all these venues with 1,500 people or so per show.
No, I followed along for a little while, and I was scared for you guys because first of all, you're my homie. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm a fan of the dude you're working with. Like it was like, hope y'all are good.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, that was a cool night, man. I really had a lot of fun that night because it was like you bring me in, you introduce me, and I was just like, oh shit, you're between sets. I don't want to be that guy. Just do what you're doing, man. I'll go help him get some water or whatever. You know, like
that night was weird for several reasons, but
it seemed it. It seemed
yeah. Well, that was like, so here's the really weird thing, and like I give Bert credit for this because basically like I got the job end of January, and like I think I accepted the job on like a Thursday or Friday, and then like 7 days later, I'm on a plane, going to our first weekend, and I'm slowly learning this job. So we had like I think. So it's like you fly and then you have 5 days on the road and you're back home for 2 days. And that's pretty much like I'm home like Monday, Tuesday each week. And then I'm flying to the next set of cities for the next weekend. And one of the weeks we even had off. So realistically, like the weekend that we saw each other was probably my 7th weekend on the road.
Shit. Yeah.
So the job was still very new to me at that time. So there was just stuff with that weekend where I'm like, okay, like there's certain things that I'm like just learning curve, adjusting, getting more used to everything. Plus the fact that like from the time that we started touring, there's just more and more reports of like, here's what's going on in China. This has gone to Europe. It's made it to Italy. Like, like Italy's completely shut down. The entire country shut down. And it just keeps on getting closer and closer to home. Yeah. Until the weekend that we were in DC was also the same weekend that we were in New York. And we had spent like 2 separate nights at Madison Square Garden. And on top of having our 2 shows at the Beacon, and we were doing like press and stuff, and then the shows at Constitution Hall. And we're just so completely surprised that like the next weekend we're sitting in New Orleans and we're debating if we're going to do the show or not. And we call it off. And it's like at that moment, kind of thinking back on everything we've done, going, how did we even get this far?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember that happening. And I was just like, oh, thank God. You know, like I was like, good. Okay. You know?
And you were actually sitting on the floor in the middle of the crowd.
Oh, dude, I was I had. And tears, though. Like, he killed that night, man. Yeah, everybody did. Everybody was really fucking funny that night. It was good. It was a really good vibe. I like the fact that Bert would always add a detail to the machine story. And the one he did that night was one I had not heard before. And it absolutely, I peed a little. Because it was he was commenting on the fact that like once he told that story, the people who confirmed it for him were his classmates. Was like, nah, Bert totally did that shit, commenting on Facebook and whatever about it. And I was just like, you know what? You can't buy that kind of like, assurance. You can't. It had to have happened. It had to have. And I knew from the first time I heard that story, it was just like, yeah, that's real. the details are too weird not to be. I was actually, the game for me was trying to figure out where he was embellishing. I'm not certain he ever did. I think he told it as it happened. You know what I mean? Like in that order.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite. Didn't he do that on This Is Not Happening? That Ari Shaffir series that was taken over by oh God.
Oh, I'm not even sure.
Roy Wood Jr. took it over. You know that I'm talking about? It's at Comedy Central, like YouTube series.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it though.
Oh God. It's fucking great. They tell stories at a strip club. Like, it's funny as shit. Because they're all like, you watch them all. There's like a handful of, there's like maybe I'd say 5 or 6 of them where I was just like, man, but like I think her name was Jessa Reed. She did one called FP. It might be singularly one of the greatest stories I've ever heard in my life. Like the way she tells it is so. Yeah, you're not ready for it. Like you don't even know. Like you're gonna go somewhere with this one. She's an amazing storyteller. Like it's my favorite one. I will put it on whenever I need to cheer up a bit. Like I'll put that on because it's just the way she goes through this, the way she's just so fucking vulnerable and open, but like also at the same time telling you some of the most horrible shit you've ever heard in your life and you're laughing at it. Talent, man. That's skill. I think the machine might have been one of them, but there was tons of them on there. Like Joey Diaz, everybody's on this thing, and they kill. they tell these like really heartfelt stories. The one that I did not expect to like as much as I ended up doing was the Howie Mandel one, because he walks up and he takes the whole first. It's one of the greatest transitions I've ever heard. He spends a lot of time discussing the stripper pole and why he's standing next to it and how much he hates that. Because he's a germaphobe.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
leans into it so hard. And then the way he turns that into the story he's about to tell, it's masterful. It's absolutely masterful. Like, the guy still has chops forever.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
matter what TV shows he fucking does, his stand-up it's on point. I mean, I don't know. I love comedy, man. I haven't been to enough like live comedy. I saw Stephen Wright first, which it's devastating. Like, he'll destroy you. Like, you're not ready. He's so good. He's next level.
He's hilarious. Oh, it's so good.
It ruined me for a long time. I didn't go see a comedian for a really fucking long time after that. And then I think the next comedian I saw was when I lived here. No, that's not true. I saw a couple in Chicago. I want to say Jim Valentino or something. He was like on Crank Yankers. He was the I got mail guy. But they were funny as shit.
Yeah.
They were pretty good. Him and his opener were really good. They made fun of me after the show, which is
Nice.
really funny. Because they were making fun of this dude in like a trucker hat. And his wife actually stood up and like delivered. I wish I could remember what happened, but she like stood up and said something back to him, and he just went and he just applauded her. She knocked it out of the park. It was one of those rare instances where the crowd work like backfired, but it backfired beautifully,
Nice.
And at the end of it, I was like, that was really funny. You calling that guy with the hat Michael Moore. He's like, shit, you were here? And I was like, what are you talking about? You look like David Cross. I'd been clowning on your ass all night. And I was like, because like, with the thick fucking glasses and shit, black hair and everything. Yeah. But the most recent comedian right before Bert that I saw was Doug Stanhope.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he's also he's just one of my favorites. That guy is just an incredible storyteller. He'll take you to a place where you think you're not going to laugh at what he's about to say, because he's just like way the fuck over the edge, but he has this human way of bringing you back. It's people need to learn that shit. Like, there's edgy for edgy's sake, but you got to be saying something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to bring it home somehow. You can't just be like, dick joke. Guy said pussy 3 times. Like, you can do better. You can do better. I've heard better. You can do better.
I've noticed a lot of, and this is going to sound like a stretch, well, to probably anybody except you, but like the parallels between the way that a magician crafts their act and the way that a really good comedian crafts theirs.
It's narrative.
So many, it was a narrative, but then also the idea of there is an amount of misdirection. The word choice is very specific. The fact that they use a joke or even just a wording or a phrase in an early joke that they reference then later on in that same act.
Yeah.
It's this amazing construction. It is all just that narrative.
There are rules for these things. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain conditions and rules depending on what style you use. Like, I really like Anthony Jeselnik, because mostly because he's a Pittsburgh guy, and I'm from like Northeast Ohio, and I just like the region. Like, if you're from the region, I'm gonna fucking root for you. 9 Inch Nails, don't give a shit. Devo, bring it. Like, I got you. Northeast Ohio, Northwest Pennsylvania. I got you. But like, he has a way of his misdirection. His left turns are so hard. Like, you think he's gonna say something absolutely horrible, and he does. But he says it over there, not over here. And it's just this whiplash. He's so good at that. It's just nasty. And then, it's like roasts. You got to people hate roasts because they think they're mean. And I'm like, nah, like, there's a rule here. Like, a roast isn't just picking on somebody. I mean, it is, but it's expected and encouraged here in this, like, within these parameters. You can't just go up to somebody on the street and be like, hey, they're flip-flops. You can't do that. You're going to get punched. But to watch, like, Greg Giraldo just fucking roast anybody back in the day. Like, he was so good at that, and I miss him. Like, his comedy stuff was so good. What a tragedy. But, like, I like a roast. I like what you call it, Dave Attell and
Jeffrey Ross.
Jeff Ross did the Bump and Mikes thing.
Yeah,
that I was not ready. I laughed harder than I have laughed in a long, long time. And it was beautiful. Like it was absolutely beautiful stuff. Because you need to be able to take the piss out of yourself. And
Yeah.
it's even better when people who are good at it are doing it to you. You know what I mean? Like it's way fucking funnier. I don't know, man. Comedy's it's bizarre. It has so many different parameters and rules, and there's different kinds of comedy for different kinds of people. You know, some are bad.
Yeah.
They're just not funny. But like that's the trick. You have to be funny. You can't just say shit. Like it has to be funny, and that's still amorphous. Some people get it, some
Mhm.
people don't. Like some people are good at it, some people aren't. I envy people who can get on a stage for an hour.
Yeah.
And kill. You know what I mean? Like if I
Yeah.
could do 3 minutes, I'd be like, "Meh, all right, cool. An hour though, it's mind blowing.
Well, seeing the way that even like that Burt works, like that's been an education for me just on the craft in and of itself. And even the other guys that open for Burt, like, you know, whether they're doing 5 minutes or 10 minutes and or like 7 or 8 or like whatever, like the fact that they like it's that wording, it's that pacing, it's how do you're gonna stick that and actually like get you like complete the joke at the end of by the end of your time.
Yeah.
And have it kind of like all wrap up, have everybody, you know, love you. If you're the first one going, you have a huge uphill battle as people are like getting settled in, especially with the drive-in shows we did.
Oh,
So we did from June until November, we did 59 shows
Jesus.
total.
Nice.
33 different cities. And now, and 2 of those cities got canceled because of weather. Like we were there, but we had to cancel the shows because of weather,
Right.
which is just so weird. But like, even knowing like for the openers, like they're like, oh, like it's really cold tonight. People are sitting inside their cars more than sitting outside. Or if it's a city where like COVID's really, you know, the numbers are high.
Mhm.
So, you know, people are not allowed to sit outside their cars. So unless they've got like an SUV that they're opening up the back or they've got a flatbed truck, you can't hear the audience.
Right.
So all of these different factors that change how their act goes. And that goes the same for the openers as it does for Burt. And then
Sure.
with Burt, for him, like seeing him, and this happens for no matter what show it is, but the like the really reworking of a joke, like with what you're talking about with the machine story, like and why that one, you know, like I don't think he's embellishing on this one because like it's all just seems very factual.
He has so many details that he just holds back, and he just drop an extra detail.
But the jokes that he's working on with the current act right now, it's like, okay, like I can see where it's evolving. Like it's all still based in truth, but like, how do we make this how do you make the joke funnier?
Right.
Like, how do you increase the humor in it?
Yeah. Because there's certain things that like you can joke about but shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember back when we were young and dumb, you know, like just kids, like 13, 14, 15 and stuff like that. Like dead baby jokes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right. No, I'm not going to tell any.
Yeah.
But like, that was the crowd splitter.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
My brother and I came up with this term called the crowd splitter. It's like when you walked in a room, you tell a joke, and then like whoever laughed at it was who you would be drinking with for the rest of the night. And you just got to just wheat and chaff, like as soon as you showed up. You know? And but that's that like edginess thing. You know what I mean? It's almost like a signpost as opposed to a joke.
Oh yeah.
And I would rather hear like a narrative. You know, I think that's why I like Burt so much. He's a storyteller. I like Stanhope for that reason. I like anybody who Maron's great for that. My God, Mark Maron's bit about the fucking Creation Museum is like 20 of the funniest minutes, you know, of the last like 10 years. Because it was one of those things where he's just this whole thing is just trying to show that Jesus rode a dinosaur. And I'm like, fucking dead. I'm dead.
I gotta go watch this.
Oh, it's so good. It's like 20-minute bit. It's so fucking good. And I know people who have been to that thing, and it's just he nailed it. Like it's accurate.
Yeah.
I won't go. It reminds me too much of these books by James Morrow, who was a writer out of State College, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote this thing called Bible Stories for Adults. It was a collection of short stories. That's amazing. He is definitely not a fan of religion.
Oh, well.
But he is like this sci-fi without being too clunky, like too technical. Like he's kind of like a sci-fi modern fantasy guy. I don't know if he still writes or does anything. I just remember I read like Bible stories for adults, and then he had this like he took like Nietzsche at the God is dead thing, right? So God's body falls out of the sky, and he wrote a trilogy about it and what happens to the body over time. And in the second book or something like that, a bunch of evangelicals like down near New Orleans tow the body, and they keep parts of it refrigerated so it doesn't rot, and they turn the rest of it into a theme park. Like, it's so fucking good. Like, he is so good.
Oh my gosh.
He has a great Morrow's great, and I don't know what happened to him. I hope like I'm not going to get milkshake ducked about this guy and find out that he's like some Nazi or some shit now. But like, his writing was very formative for me. Like when I was younger, and I remember they just had his shit on the shelf at Barnes and Noble, and I bought them all.
Yeah,
I think he has one called like "This Is the Way the World Ends," and it's kind of based on the Wasteland poem by T.S. Eliot, which Eliot's a little problematic for all kinds of Nazi reasons, but like anti-Semitic reasons, not cool. But this was about like the near future or the 60s. I don't even know when, but it was like the height of the Cold War. And this guy goes into some shop where they're testing post-apocalypse suits, kind of like Fallout, armor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he happens to be testing on like the finest one that's like made of gold or some shit like that. And then all the nukes go off and he's stuck in it because it self-seals the second nukes go off and he can't get out. And it's basically this take on Alice in Wonderland. It is absolutely hilarious. It's so fucking good.
Oh my gosh.
I need to get all these books again, actually, because I've lent them and never gotten them back. In the Bible Stories for Adults, one of the short stories explains why, in spite of the flood, everything got fucked up. Like who did Noah's kids like save from the flotsam and jetsam? Like it's good. It's sneaky sideways shit. But his stuff was always like really funny, and it came from a good place. He was one of the rare authors that I was like on the verge of like calling or sending a letter to, but just like never did. I hope he's okay. Is all I can say. Like I really like.
Get on LinkedIn. You'll be surprised who you can connect with on LinkedIn.
I'm terrified of LinkedIn. I have a profile on there just so that someone won't take my profile and use it. That's actually how I started using Twitter too. You look at my Twitter and look at like when I joined and when my first tweet actually was. It's like 6 years.
Oh my gosh.
Just trying to keep the name, man. That's all. I don't want somebody tweeting as me. But I don't know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I like movies. What the fuck? There's like nothing out. I'm about to rent Tenet this week. That's where I'm at. I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'm dying to watch Promising Young Woman because it just looks awesome. I really want to see Synchronic. I wish that was available on VOD so bad. I cannot remember their names, but the guys that directed it are the guys that did, I want to say, Resolution, Spring, and The Endless. And I haven't seen Spring yet. Resolution was filmed for like no money. It's basically about this. Oh, it's so fucking cool. It's about this guy that takes his buddy out to like the middle of nowhere and chains him to like a radiator to clean him up. He's on drugs.
Oh, okay.
So like he's trying to clean him up, and then shit gets weird. And then there's Spring, which I haven't seen yet, so I can't comment on. But then there's The Endless, which is on like Netflix now, which is about these two brothers who had escaped like a UFO cult, and they're having a hard time adjusting to society. And this movie wastes no time. Like it sets this up, and then boom, the younger brother's having a hard time adjusting. So he's like, "Look, can we just go back and see them because they're kind of our family?
Yeah,
just to see them, and then we can leave again." And then you find out why it was so hard for them to leave in the first place, and it ties into the other movies. Like they've done something. These guys are doing something, and they filmed The Endless for like $5,000, and it's awesome.
See,
it's really good.
This is another reason why, like, I just love having conversations with you, because all I have to do is say like a word, and you just seem you're off. Like I'm just here. Like now, I want to watch all these movies. I want to read these books. I want to look, see these authors, and look at what they've written. Watch these films, because like your taste is so eclectic. Like even like DJing wise, is there a genre of music that you haven't used in any of your sets before?
There are two. And
is there? Is it a personal preference?
There are two. I don't play any happy hardcore techno.
Okay.
Because it's too fast. And then I'll play hardcore though. I'll play like I haven't yet, but I will play like New York City speedcore from like the mid '90s and shit.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that because it's closer to industrial music, and I like industrial music. I was a machinist for a while, and I liked industrial music before that. So like when I actually worked in a machine shop, I was like, I'm gonna try to find the rhythms in this. Like that's it. And the other thing is, and I just there's some fucking Christian metal, man, that just doesn't work. And there are a couple of Christian bands that I don't hate.
Yeah.
I gotta put this out. Like King's X was kind of considered to be a Christian band. They're one of the best metal bands ever. Period. They're fucking sick. They are sick. Like, get all their albums. King's X. Get them all. Get them all. They're great. They have a great song called "Over My Head." It's awesome. It's a great song about music. They're just wonderful. They're just good. King's X is definitely good.
See, if nothing else, I'm just gonna write all this stuff down at the end of today. And I'm gonna make sure I'm like, all right, this is the stuff. This is my homework. This is what I need to read. This is what I need to watch and listen to.
Well, I also have a soft spot for a Christian industrial group called Chatterbox because it's not a bad album, like for industrial music. But then they do a cover of "You Are My Sunshine" at the end, and in the liner notes they dedicated it to John Candy, and I'm like, you get points for that. You get fucking points for that, and it's cool. It's an industrial cover of fucking "You Are My Sunshine." That's
amazing.
Funnier. Like, yeah, all right, guys. I hope they're doing right.
See, that's like
everything else.
It's really funny because like how some people are like, oh, like I only like like alt music, like I won't listen to like the top 40 hits, like pop, whatever. The Christian world is the exact same thing. There's like the core groups of bands, musicians, artists, whatever.
Sure.
Like everybody listens to, but then you've got like I had never known that there were any sort of like Christian industrial metal bands.
Yeah, there was a dude I worked with back in a hotel in Ohio who he first of all, he was never trying to convert me, which I give him credit for, but he was trying to reach me like, this is the stuff I like too. So he gave me like a couple of Jars of Clay albums, and I was so it's like Christian Toad the Wet Sprocket-ish shit, like Toad's way more my shit, but like I get it, and they have some cool songs where they're not trying to beat you over the head with anything. And then there's like, then he gave me the Chatterbox cassette, and I was like, I will never forget you. Like
I'm still not going to church, but I will never forget you.
I will never forget you. I appreciate you going that far for me to bring me this weird ass fucking tape. It was and again, I don't have it anymore. I wouldn't even know where to find it, but like I didn't hate it. I remember putting it in and be like, I don't hate this. This is fine. Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not an atheist. I'm like an agnostic. Like I was a raver in the 90s. Things happened. I'm open to a bunch of ideas. Let's just say that. I don't have that certainty. And I think that gives me a certain amount of freedom to a certain degree. Like I get to speculate, and I get to be open to things, and I get to learn new shit and find new cool things that I might not have liked 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
There's just
like pull that big picture to everything. Like, so just stuff to question. I'm trying to find like the natural segue to like steer this back towards the politics stuff, because it's true. Like really just because of your proximity to it. But I mean, really, just with anything, like you want to question stuff. I feel for the people who have bought into like all the QAnon conspiracies and all that, because I went there were a couple of times that I actually went out of my way to have conversations with these people, and I really realized that these are people who, more than anything, I feel like they really want their lives, their world, to seem a whole lot more interesting than it actually is.
That's
so like they question stuff, which is great, but then like the things that you're buying into as your answers are completely off base.
They're bonkers. Yeah. I've been a big fan of conspiracy theory shit ever since I used to hang out. Oh man, truck stop days, buddy. I used to hang out at a truck stop in Hubbard, Ohio, with my dearest, oldest friends, and one of them, Merlin, turned me on to the Illuminatus trilogy, which is this book by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson. It's basically the book about it's a fiction book.
Yeah.
About conspiracies, and then like if you read his nonfiction stuff, he lets you off the hook, because if you read this, I mean, oh God, this springboards into the KLF. If you've never listened to the KLF, you need to get the White Room and just chill the fuck out, because like every single dance song you've heard pretty much has been influenced by that album since then. You know what I mean?
Huh.
It's important. The history of the KLF alone, they burned a million pounds at one point. They just set it on fire. Like that's how much money they had. They like the KLF is fucked up. It's fucked. They're awesome. They're great and they're terrible and pieces of shit. They're all of these things simultaneously. And without them, they would not have given me like I wouldn't have had the Orb, I think, or I would have had the Orb, but like in a different way. You know, the Orb is another band that happened simultaneously and afterward. Dr. Alex Patterson, please hit me up. Like one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life was the Orb. Each time I saw them, like they're incredible. It's the conspiracy. I think Alan Moore had a really good kind of like idea about this. I'm going to paraphrase it heavily, but he's like, the reason why people kind of get into conspiracies is because like it's comforting. It's comforting to think that like all these things that are going wrong are because Bill Gates is putting a microchip in the vaccine, as opposed to no one being at the wheel. This is rudderless.
Yeah.
No one's in control. That's terrifying to people. The idea that like there's not somebody running shit is terrifying to people. To me, it's more like well, you don't have to be in charge. You just have to solve problems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need some great fucking leader. We need somebody to like get food into the children's bellies of the most like the weakest of us. Like that was always the plan. You know, like if I take anything from my like Catholic upbringing, it's that idea of like, don't be a dick. I think you could boil Jesus's messages down to like, don't be a dick. No, you don't want somebody kicking you in the nuts. Don't kick somebody in the nuts. You know, like
the alternative of love thy neighbor, but sure, yeah.
But yeah,
don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. That like even makes it easier. You know what I mean? But that's not bad. Mathematically, it fucking works out. If I had people kicking me in the dick every time I walked out of my house, I'd have to be kicking people in the dick all the time. I ain't got that kind of time to be kicking dicks. I don't. I'm constantly being hit on the internet with stupid stories that I need to obsess with like for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. You know, like it's this is interesting what's happening here right now, because it's not, we don't know what the fuck is going on. Like,
right.
We don't even know if somebody's in charge right now, because like when all that shit went down Wednesday, there was rumors that like Pence was in charge, because like Trump wasn't calling out the National Guard.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the fucking protests over the summer for BLM. There was like National Guard, tear gas, like get out from in front of the church, you know, all this kind of crap. All that shit happened. Military as fuck. And then these dudes literally smeared shit on the walls of the Capitol. These patriots went into like the Capitol building and shit on the walls and killed a cop, which they've killed more cops than Antifa. Good job, guys. Way to prove your point. You know, like I'm just astonished at what it is. I think is this like weird fragility that they'll never acknowledge and are incapable of acknowledging. This idea that you're temporary on this planet. You literally have at best 100 years. And of those 100 years, you're only effective for like maybe 60 to 80 of them. Tops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best to not be that productive. These cats picked a side as though politics are sports, and now they got to double down and triple down and quadruple down on it, because they, you know, to admit that you were wrong would be shameful, and they can't bear shame.
Right.
And it's like, just chill the fuck out, because they think that they're going to roll through again. And if like there isn't some sort of retribution or like punishment for what had just happened, and there is, these motherfuckers are getting arrested left and right.
I know the guy who had the zip ties just got arrested today. Burkini guy got arrested, and
well, let's not pretend that these cats just went in there. My favorite part is, we're storming the Capitol, but we're gonna walk between the fucking velvet ropes. You sheep.
Yeah.
Fucking kidding me? Like if it was really like punk, if these guys were really like hardcore about it, they'd have kicked those things over and started pulling down the fucking, you know.
One of the late night talk show hosts made a comment about that. It might have been Jimmy Kimmel or somebody, but he was like, apparently we just should have surrounded the Capitol in those velvet ropes, and then they wouldn't have done it.
They would have done it. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. I mean,
what I don't understand is that like this whole thing, that whole event at the Capitol was clearly a premeditated event, considering the fact that somebody brought a fucking canopy and concession stand, did like a little pop-up shop, and somebody set up a gallows.
Oh yeah. Well,
Like-
there's a little more going on there too. Like a lot of this. Okay, so my favorite podcast is called Knowledge Fight. They for the last like 4 years, it's almost been exactly 4 years. These guys have been covering Alex Jones, and they're fucking awesome. They're so good at this. Like Dan is such a good researcher, and Jordan is just his reactions are my soul. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Yeah.
I love them. I love them to death. But they covered Friday's episode is like 3.5 hours long, and they covered Wednesday and before.
I just feel like that's got to damage your soul to cover Alex Jones. Like you're a changed human being after that.
Dan needs to be what do they call that when you're like gonna be a saint? Like he needs to be canonized. He needs to be canonized in some way, man. They're just cool dudes who are doing a thankless fucking job.
Yeah.
Well, like they're doing really, really well. And this last Friday's episode, man, it took me like a couple days to listen to it because there's still a lot of shit going on and I still had some stuff to do. Mm-hmm. So, you just take it in parts. You listen to what you can, pause, come back, finish. Alex Jones thought he was, or he said that he was supposed to lead the charge to the Capitol. My favorite moment in this entire episode is when he finds out that Trump is having a meeting over there, and he already told people to go to the Capitol. So people are already going to the Capitol. Jones didn't lead the charge. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't matter. You know what I mean? He's got his big stupid fucking tank that he spent money on. He's in the middle of like divorce and custody hearings. He's got all these lawsuits from fucking Sandy Hook. I mean, he's literally he's hamstrung.
Yeah.
It's just they're bleeding him dry from all this horrible stochastic, terrorist shit that he's been doing. But here he is trying to like blow himself up like he's like, I am the tip of the spear for Trump kind of shit. And they're already marching. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he didn't get the call from Trump specifically to lead the car. It's like they're already going. He's like, all right, well, we gotta go with these patriots. And I'm like, you're just so fucking sad. Like I'm like a few months younger than Alex Jones. So if I ever really kind of need to feel good about myself, I just look at a picture of him and I'm just like, I'm doing
good. That actually surprises me.
Yeah. No,
because I'm like thinking about him and I'm like, ugh.
The one thing I'm jealous of him about is that he was in 2 Richard Linklater movies. That's all. And that's just because he was the local freak. You know what I mean? He was in both of the animated ones too, man. He was in fucking Scanner Darkly and Dream. What the fuck is it called? Waking Life.
Okay.
And in both of them, he plays like lunatic with megaphone. So it's perfectly cast.
Oh, wonderful.
But yeah, no, I love the Knowledge Fight podcast a lot. Like it's been kind of a centering show for me, And they put out more content than you can imagine. Like they used to do like 3 episodes a week that were usually anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours each. I can't even imagine that kind of. If you check out our podcast, which is called the Low Life Podcast, spelled L0WL1F3.
Oh, and I can actually do this right here. Wait, do that one more time.
Yeah, it's on like RSS. I think we might even be on iTunes now, but it's like L0WL1F3. You'll see how bad I am at mastering.
Wait, hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna see if this works. Is this your card?
Basically, yeah.
Low life. Okay. L0WL1F3.
Yeah.
That just looks like a secret password.
Yeah. It's because it's all cyberpunk hacker shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But like you listen to those first couple episodes, you can see how bad I am at mastering. Like I appreciate anybody who has good audio at this point, and I'm just trying to learn. The episodes will get better over time. I have friends here who produce music and stuff who have been helping me out a lot. Yeah. Shout out to Jason Mendelson. Shout out to Sean Russell. But like shout out to Derek Every. Also, pick up Jason Mendelssohn's music. He's fucking awesome. Pick up Derek Avery's music. He's fucking awesome. They're great. While you're at it, pick up fucking Alex El Rojo Perez's music. They're all awesome. There's so many awesome people making music here. It's fucking great.
This will be discovered like 8 to 10 months from now when people like go like through archive episodes and shit.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's why I put this
here. The payoffs will be much later.
This is for the heads. You know, like
absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of like anything that I've like watched or listened to or anything lately that has just been like, all right. So one of the best albums I've heard in the last few years is the Cinematic Orchestra.
Okay.
That's the name of the artist or the band.
Mm-hmm.
And they have an album called To Believe. And it is gorgeous. Huh. It is just stunningly beautiful music. Absolutely not what you would expect me to be listening to. And I listen to it at least once a week. I'll put it on the background and do stuff. It's emotional, wonderful. They are so fucking insanely talented as like a band. Mm-hmm. You won't believe this came out of like 3 people. You know what I mean? Like it's nuts. It's bonkers. Them and there's another one called The Comet Is Coming. They're like a jazz trio.
I need to start just leaving an open note anytime we talk.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, The Comet Is Coming is so good. They did a Tiny Desk on NPR. Watch that.
Okay.
It'll give you everything you need to know. I'm trying to think of movies and stuff though, like that I can't even.
Well, that's a huge thing. Is like, and I have such a big problem with this that everything is just so formulaic, and even in like the larger concept things. And it's really sad to say, aside from like the Marvel films and Mandalorian, like it's there isn't any, at least that I can think of, like large concept type of films that actually do a really good job. Like Tenet, I feel like you're going to want to you're going to watch Tenet and you're going to go, hold on, let's do that again.
I might.
Because you're just going to you're really going to want to pick that apart. Mm-hmm. And it's worth it. Like I saw it once, the one time I actually went to a movie theater during all of this, which was terrifying in and of itself. I will not be doing that again. It was like,
I want to see a movie. My first words out of my mouth, dude. The guys who directed Synchronic and The Endless and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. When Synchronic came out, they're like, "Look, we're releasing this in theaters, but for the love of God, do not go and watch this in a fucking theater. We just need it to be there for a couple weeks, and then we can put it on VOD. That's the deal."
Right.
And I was like, I appreciate and respect the shit out of that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I understand. And this isn't fucking 1989 with the tube TV. Some of us are sitting there with like a 40, 50, 60-inch fucking flat screen in your house that was like $400 on a Christmas sale now, which ain't cheap, but it's a damn sight cheaper than like the 48-inch $1,000, old giant tube TV that you could barely carry throughout the house. Like this is a different, like that's one thing that's kind of improved and come down in price a little bit. And I would frankly rather watch a movie in my basement anyway, where I can get wasted and like pause the movie and go take a piss. I mean, if you could pause the movie and go take a piss in a theater, I would probably go to more movie theaters. I probably would. I didn't. After Mad Max Fury Road, movies really had to fucking pull my ass after that, because that was and it's just a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. It always comes. Every conversation comes back to fucking Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, I remember talking about it a few times.
I'm not done with it. Like I've watched it like fucking 30 times at this point. I haven't done that since I was a little kid, and like those like the first time I got the Star Wars cassette, the VHS cassette. Like I wore it out and I'd get another one, wear it out. This is one of those where I look at it and I'm like, how did you fucking figure this out? How did your wife edit this? This is insane to me. Like this doesn't make narrative. You don't sit down and write a movie like this. And yet there it is, perfect in every way. Oh God. I think the only 2 movies I really enjoyed in a movie theater after that was like Hereditary and fucking Midsummer.
Oh, I'm not a fan of horror. I don't do well.
If I'm gonna watch horror, it better scare me.
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, I dig Rob Zombie, but I was just like, his movies didn't do anything for me because I was just like, no, I want horror. I'm not a fan of like Freddy, and I like Freddy, I like Jason, but I'm not a fan of those movies or those kinds of movies so much as like an actual situation that someone has gotten into that is actually terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to leave a movie shook every now and again, and Hereditary did it. You know,
Yeah.
Tony Collette not even being nominated for an Oscar that year made me swear off the Oscars. I don't give a fuck what the Oscars think.
Yeah,
How do you pass that up? How do you pass that up? And then I went and saw Midsummer with my wife on our anniversary. And why did I do that? Why?
What a choice! I mean, you knew what there was going into it.
Well, she was really cool with it. Spoilers, guys. She was really cool with it until like the old people jumped off the cliff, and the second guy didn't die immediately. She was like, "What's happening?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is the guy that did Hereditary." And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?"
See, I made that choice. I made a bad choice like that once, where I took a girl on a first date to go see what was that Jason Bourne, the Matt Damon one, where he's like a clairvoyant or whatever. And he like talks to.
Oh fuck! What was that called? The Rearrangement Bureau or something? Or
no, the Adjustment Bureau. No, totally different. That one was like a mainstream thing, but this was like some like $30 million or less film where it was just supposed to be like he was like one of 3 storylines you were following, and he was supposed to be this guy who like could communicate with the dead. And like there was this really heartbreaking thing with this one kid who was like talking to like their dead twin or whatever. It was a bit of a heart-wrenching movie at times. And I took a girl on a first date to go see that. I'm like, so this was poorly planned.
So one of my favorite date movies, the girl didn't show, and I just went and saw fucking Alien 3 by myself, and I'll defend that movie. That was the last great Alien movie, you know. I mean, Aliens, Alien. You know, they're kind of like right about here, and then Alien 3. But when you know the backstory of like Fincher was basically foisted into a film where they'd already spent millions, like $20-30 million, had sets built and no working script, and he still made a coherent narrative out of it. As a writer, you should take a look at that shit. It ain't perfect, but the fact that it exists at all is kind of noteworthy, you know?
Yeah.
Great cast. Everything about that movie is really like, it shouldn't have happened, and yet here we are. And then every Alien and Predator movie after that was just kind of trash. Well, I hear Disney owns Alien now.
Oh yeah, and that's being rebooted.
Can we not? Just let it die. Just let it die. You know, because here's what I want. I wanted us to go Alien, fantastic masterpiece, fucking perfect claustrophobic horror masterpiece film. Okay, one of Ridley's best, and he's had several.
Yeah.
Aliens, Cameron, totally different fucking take. Absolutely powerful, terrifying in its own.
I don't even think I've seen that one.
You've seen Aliens, haven't you?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
Wait, is that the one where Ridley like flicks the blood at the window and it like acid like melts it?
That was Resurrection. That's crap.
Oh.
Well, or look, I'm not going to say that's crap either, because the directors of that movie, they did like Delicatessen and City of Lost Children and the wonderful Amelie. Like Amelie is one of the greatest movies ever made. But like, it's a great one-off. It's just that the third movie, I always thought was going to be Weyland-Yutani finally gets the fucker back to Earth. And of course it goes out of control. So all of Earth is just ruined. And that would be a great third Alien movie. Like your hubris fucking, if it's the last of the survivors, what do they do now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you know, do the last survivors leave Earth and then, you know, go and affect another planet? You know, whatever.
I gotta go watch the Alien franchise.
Well, they like the opening trilogy's the shit. It's really great because the James Cameron one, first of all, has like so much. It's just bombastic. It has personality. It has Bill Paxton in one of his best roles. It has some of the funniest lines, and you don't expect it. And you have Paul Reiser playing a corporate whore.
Wasn't it the one right after Cameron did Terminator?
The first Terminator.
Yeah.
And and I think Aliens was a flop. It has actually, like, the last sequence of Aliens, the closing, the last act is one of the best in science fiction. It's so fucking good. Also, I mean, That's where I had my crush on Sigourney Weaver. That's when that started. Was those two movies. But then the third one came out, and it ended her narrative, and that was the point. Like that, it was beautiful the way it did that much, even though it like opened and pissed people off. Like the way it opens, it like automatically kills like a couple of characters from the previous movie automatically. You never see it; it happens off camera, and they go into the rest of the story, and it's brutal. Like it's not friendly, and the biggest problem isn't the alien that's running around, it's like the fucking people she's with, and it's like okay, when everything kind of turns around and it comes together, that makes a pretty decent narrative arc for her character, even if like it's a little wonky at the end. When you start getting into this, like like the first Alien Predator movie they sent like in modern times, why would you do that?
Yeah, that's a catch grab. What I did really like was going over the Predator franchise though, like Predators, which I think was Robert Rodriguez.
I didn't see that one.
Topher Grace?
Oh, no, that was the one with Topher Grace. Yeah, no. I did like that one. I like the Predator franchise. It's a little bit more solid. I haven't seen the newest one that Kiss Bang Bang did. What's his name? That director.
Oh geez, I'm blanking. And well, that movie came out. So when I got the job on Jungle Cruise a couple years ago, that was working for John Davis, who the Predator franchise is his thing. Like that's his baby.
Yeah.
So when I started,
made a masterpiece with the first one. Like the first one.
Oh yeah. Well, it's always like you're talking like the stories that you're talking about are those monster in the house stories. The first Alien, the first Predator. There's an unknown evil that's on the loose in this space that we're in,
and it's bad as hell. Like it's literally a threat. You feel the threat of it. The weight of the threat of the monster is like palpable. There's nothing comedic about an alien that you can kill, but his blood can kill you after it splashes onto you. You know what I mean? Like that's super dangerous. And then you have this thing that could turn fucking invisible and see you by heat. Oh yeah, good shit. No, that's good shit. I just hate that at least like I don't feel like Predator got as cheesy as Alien did, man. Because I remember seeing Prometheus and just thinking, what a beautiful disaster. Like narratively, this makes no sense. Why is this technology so much more advanced than like what we saw fucking 40 years ago? And this is a prequel, And I still haven't seen Covenant yet.
Covenant was really good.
It has to be better. It has Dana McBride in it.
Oh, 100%.
But, there's a lot of people who talking about like late era, Ridley Scott not being good, and I'm like, yeah, but like Raised by Wolves, pretty fucking great. Pretty much enjoying the shit out of that, Like he has it, he still has it. He like Lucas and a lot of people just need somebody to say no. And like, hey, that's not going to work. Like you have to have somebody that you trust that can say that shit, or you're going to be left with like the prequels to Star Wars.
Which now getting onto that stuff. Now we're hitting a stride here. Now getting onto those. I actually like a year and a half ago, I was interviewing for a job at Lucasfilm.
Right on.
So I'm like, all right, I gotta really know what's canon here. Yeah. So like I watched through I think at the time it was just the 8 films. No, the eight Skywalker saga films, and then Solo and Rogue One. So when I went through the prequel films, I realized here's the problem is that it's more dialogue heavy. Like those 3 films, you have to pay attention to and register the dialogue to really know what's going on. Like I didn't get it all, and I think it was the second film. I think when Palpatine,
I felt like they improved. Like the first one was trash, the second one was better, the third one was passable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just I don't care about Trade Federation, and frankly, I think the Arlnauts did a great job of re-editing the prequels into like little 15 to 20 minute bits and like made them funny as hell. Like that's all I wanted. Have
you watched Clone Wars at all though? Because like they make fun of aspects of the films.
I need to. And like there's a bit in one of the Arlnauts things where like little like Jake Lloyd, that poor kid, man, I got nothing but fucking like empathy for that kid. You're 8 years old. Motherfuckers come to your parents and be like, hey, you want to be in a Star Wars movie? You say yes. You say yes. There's no.
Yeah.
No, you say yes. You fucking say yes. And you don't blame him for that fucking movie being trash. But there's this scene that what they do is they'll re-edit the movie and then like do some voiceover. And one of them is a really good Liam Neeson. And it's the scene where Anakin's like, Qui-Gon, what are midichlorians? And he just goes, it's heroin. Dead. Every fucking time. Oh wait, can we do a break? Can we do a short break?
Yeah.
I just gotta run and I gotta piss, man. It's real human.
Well, tell you what. So we're actually already hitting like an hour 25. Let's wrap up a little bit because we're gonna do. I feel like we're gonna make this a regular thing. Just you and me just shoot the shit for an hour and a half.
Dude, I'd love it. That'd be great.
Because it's fun. Which actually, so here I'll throw this up just because she's the one person who actually said a little thingy here. This is Lady Katie.
Oh, do this for the man. Make him.
Yeah. Okay. So anytime that I've gone down to Orlando to visit this girl, she are watching Alien. It's like whatever. It's like it's on. It's background false. It's just like it's there.
Wait, hey, I'm look at.
Is that
USS?
Oh, nice.
I just occurred to me. I was like, oh shit, I'm wearing my alien hat. Yeah, my brother got me this for like my birthday or something. It's my favorite hat. It's faded. It used to be a dark blue. I've worn it in the sun. I've washed it.
One of the guys on our tour group has got like the Nostromo vest.
I love that franchise. I wish it was better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Star Wars, like the new movies. I can honestly say, I think Rogue One deserves to be part of the original trilogy. It feels like a Star Wars movie. It feels the most like a Star Wars movie, and it's awesome. And somebody did a how it should have ended with like Donnie Yen just destroying the Empire with a broomstick. He starts doing that in the movie, and then he just takes it all the way to the Emperor and just like fucking kills him. And I was like, I would pay you so much money. I would pay $1,000 to sit in the movie theater and watch that. I would literally not have a problem with it at all.
Well, all right. Well, then to wrap all of that shit up, you're gonna have to text me like all of these like references and recommendations you made for books, albums, and stuff to check out. And then I mean, we've got a change in administration coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll wax poetically about politics and cinema in general.
I hope so. I hope it's not me on a phone in our next episode, and I'm just like, so the revolution has made its way into the Battle of Alexandria. Which is entirely possible. This is like, I don't know.
The thing that's entirely different from the beginning of our friendship until now is the fact that like I am much more politically aware. Like it's been like that, and that's like if we're talking silver linings, like that's like a 1+ is that like having terrorist leader Donald J. Trump run the country for the last 4 years is like being able to be like, I have to pay attention to this now. Like I really have to pay attention to this. Like I cannot look away.
No, it's true. It's true. Even when I was like spinning here, like when Obama was president, it was like super chill to the point where I didn't enjoy it. It was just not dangerous or boring.
Yeah,
it was so boring. And I kind of like the danger. I just hate the fact that the danger came with that asshole.
Yeah,
because like I'm not as worried about like Trump. He's gonna flail fucking a little bit, but I'm more worried about the next one. The one that's more competent, the one that actually has their ducks in a row and like has a fucking plan for white supremacy, and not just well, that's my base, I'm gonna fucking feed him red meat. Like this guy is he's a grifter. He's never been worth shit. And look, if you bankrupt a fucking casino,
how does a casino get bankrupt?
How? Oh, we need a businessman to run. You bankrupted a place where you're supposed to just take money from fucking people. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Everything else is just horror. That alone is disqualifying for this job. I don't know. What a dumb fuck. Anyway, sorry. Not a fan, guys. Sorry.
Which, as a general disclaimer, I guess, if anybody gives a shit or if anybody digs in the archives, like this normally isn't going to be a political thing that I'm trying to set up here. It'll just come up from time to time. And it's just convenient considering the fact that you're within like 10 miles of the Eye of Sauron. Sauron. That guy.
Soroff, Waxon, Soroff. I don't know. It's
The guy with the giant eye and the Lord of the Rings thing. You're like right there next to evil. Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's. I told my cousin once that I was like, what I want to do, man, is I want to get invited to the White House and like take a shit, not flesh. Like that was my big thing. You know what I mean? And then somebody did that at the Capitol, and I'm really pissed now. They took my fucking bucket list. I'm just really upset. I wouldn't spear shit or nothing. I just like drop a deuce and fucking leave. Like I'd be just like, yeah, peace out. Like,
oh, amazing. Jeez.
Something easy, something that like maintenance wouldn't have to take care of. You know what I mean? Like, I feel for maintenance. Anyway,
that's restrictive. Brilliant. All right. Well, let's. I'll wrap. I'll just hit the end. I've got this glorious big red button that just says "end broadcast" here, and there's really, again, the same way that there was no finesse to the beginning of this whole thing. This is literally just going to go to like just black
later.
So, well, you're still going to be here. I'm just going to hit end.
Oh no, I'm going to be here. Yeah, totally. No.
Yeah. We pop into like the standby room. So, all right, I'll hit end there. So. I'm going to try to make this a regular thing. Sundays at 4. We'll see what happens.
Hell yeah. All right. This sounds like a lot of fun. Sundays, I'm typically free. I don't know. I'm never really doing anything too.
Who's doing anything on Sunday?
Sometimes.
I think there's like football and like surge swiping on Tinder. But aside from that,
I think the Browns are in the playoffs. So if anyone is having any kind of like optimism for the future, just know that this is like one of the signs of Armageddon. Okay. Just heads up, yes, it's the Browns and the Steelers, so that's like
it's the first seal on the scroll of Armageddon being broken open.
Oh, that's the second one. The first one was when I think Britney Spears did a song with the Backstreet Boys earlier this year, so like we're already well into it. We're fucked. God bless them. I'm a big pro Britney. Get free, my God, get out of there. But like, not. I don't have any of her albums or nothing, but I'm just like, as a person, please, like, fucking take care of yourself.
All right. Well, for anybody who's watching, for the one person, hi Katie, who's watching this now, and then for anybody who comes back in time to watch this,
perfect.
Hopefully the pandemic's over and be safe.
Stay safe, everybody.
There we go.